Anyways, moving on. We have a video that we're going to review by The Crucible, and then some stories that we're going to do, and then again, Portal, Portal 2, with the delightful psychopathic robot, Yahtzee. All right. I think I sorted out hopefully the audio so it's a little bit better balanced. Yeah, does Force make a good leader by The Crucible? For the record, this guy is a nasty debater. I seen him once do Matt Dillahunty. For the record, I haven't watched like a ton of his stuff, but I think I've hopefully found one of the ones that doesn't have like boobies streamers in it or something. He goes on the whatever podcast, so he's yeah. I've seen him do like a debate with Matt Dillahunty once. I think those two deserve each other. I'm not in favor of gay marriage. You guys know my stance on that probably if you've been watching for a very long time, right? I, I'm not in favor of the action of hoax. Yeah, never mind. Point B, those two are a match made in heaven. Yeah. Anyways, now to clarify my position on homosexuality, I don't think people are monsters for feeling the way they feel, but like there's the action and then there's the instinct. A person is the way they are to some extent. You don't choose who you're born to, how you grow up, and what all goes into that. But you can't pretend that having sex with another person isn't a choice, that somehow it just happens accidentally or that you're forced to do so. All right, enough of that. Here we go.
Do you think people want?
Yeah, just in my head, the thing that kind of that inspires is remember from Diablo 3, the oh goodness, covetous Shen, and the way he says crucible. That's kind of just how I imagine it in my head. It's a thing for doing jewelry, I think, kind of lighter smithing work, maybe, or particularly, yeah, I think it's particularly for jewelry.
To be forced into being led by somebody just
Well,
because they have a lot of force,
I
or do you
mean,
think they
ultimately,
want that?
ultimately, I'll answer your question directly. The answer is yes, and
People
I can
want to
hang
be.
on.
I don't know. Like, it does seem like by some fluke or happenstance, a person who is very evil can come into possession of force, right? That is like might does not necessarily make right in my mind, but it also is true, I think, to some extent, that the maintenance that evil tends to have a self-destructive nature to it, right? The nothing evil, it lacks the stability that allows it to last for a long time. It's a self-devouring thing, and therefore maybe ish, I guess.
Hang on, I can demonstrate. Yes, well, actually, yes, they do. You may think that they don't, but let me ask you a question, sir. Do you stop at stop signs?
I do.
Ryan, the radical coder.
I'm
Why?
forced.
Why?
Yes. Because
Why?
I'm forced.
Joe?
Oh, wait a second. Wait, hang on, hang on. Wait a second. Wait a second. Would you really have it any other way?
Yes, I prefer to make my own judgment.
You would rather there was no stop signs, or you would
If it's
rather?
3 o'clock
Stop signs. There's an element.
in the morning, I don't want to stop at a stop sign. I trust
But
my
you still
judgment
do.
more than that
But you
stop
still
sign.
do.
Yeah, I'd be
Yeah,
scared,
because it
man. I'm gonna
develops.
get caught.
Because
Yeah.
what that does is it develops good habits, so that you're always stopping at the stop signs, even if there's no police officer around. Don't you think that that's actually, as far as a protocol goes, probably pretty good for society at large?
It is true. It does seem like countries work best when the people are a little bit afraid of the government and the government is a little bit afraid of the people. That's my own personal opinion. Not gonna get politics.
No, I'm
Tap
against that too.
into. Can I ask
Hang on, hang on. But
Andrew?
why? But why are you against it? Like, if you are
I'm a,
building, hang on, if you're building good habits, which both protect you and protect everybody who's around you at the same time,
yes,
even though
yes.
there's no actual enforcement around, just the threat
Okay.
of enforcement requires you to behave properly. What is your
Yeah.
actual issue with that?
again, because bad people can, in fact, they can, by some happenstance, maybe not random, I guess. I like to, I guess, not to what extent I believe in random circumstance, but bad people can come into possession of power.
Well, first of all, I didn't think it was behaving properly. Remember, I think I get to run that stop sign at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Then
I'm
why
being
don't you?
forced, and I
Then
don't
why
like
don't you?
Why? Because I'm scared some cop gonna jump out from a
Oh,
bush
I
and
see.
charge me money.
So if
Or
cops,
when my
if
phone.
There's a point to be made here, though. If you are who you are when you're alone, sometimes it's best not to be alone for too long. Now, we all like to think, and I think it's a good thing to find out who you are and to seek to have integrity. But I don't know if we would want to find out who we are when we have like a complete unilateral control over situations. I think it's best not to allow yourself unequal relationships too much.
cops were, if cops,
Absolute power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. Uh, Christopher Lee, Lord of the Rings, back or behind the scenes thing. That's where I heard that.
were your wife, would you step in and do something about that?
Yes, they were
Oh,
raping you,
yes, you
breaking
would.
yours. I accept
File
it.
a
Oh, I
complaint.
see. So
File a
if
complaint.
cops were doing cops were doing something that you considered to be immoral, you would step in to try to stop that. However, in this case, when there's no cop around, you still obey the law. That seems to indicate to me that there's some bearing on that law you must agree with.
Virtue ethics.
Yes, there is some. I wouldn't
Uh,
deny.
Intelligent self-interest is a motivating factor as well. There are people who are very cynical and yet would comply with laws because they are afraid of what will happen. Yeah, they have a degree of self-preservation instinctively beaten into them a little bit, probably.
Dispute that. Yeah.
Then what are we arguing
but
about?
I have to
Everyone's
go.
arguing
I
against
don't think they get to determine. It shouldn't be 100%. They shouldn't get to determine that shit 100%.
Hey,
They're
before Mel
kicking
goes.
me out. Yeah.
Before Mel goes.
There's some, okay, I don't want to get into politics, but there is something to be said that it feels like most of the time what is legal should have its root in what is moral, kind of derived from a consensus from the masses, and accepted like this is right, this is good, this is whatever, and then you create an application for the moral code in a legal sense.
Mel. To your.
Smoker.
I understand Andrew's response, but in the village, it's not that anybody's being forced. It's okay. Me and Joe Cool.
Batman. What the? All right, what is this? 10th man. The 10th man. The Batman symbol. Who's this guy?
And Andrew.
Adam. No.
Andrew and Flo and Ryan are there, and there's also 5 women that we never met before because we showed up on the island, right?
I can't believe I'm not there. Man,
just
I
us.
hate this
So-
scenario.
Actually, I
So
want
we're
to hear this.
We're trying to figure
Smoke
out
'em
why
if you got 'em.
we're trying to figure out why we're on the island, and just because Flo is probably the strongest of us, he looks like he might be Andrew. I don't know if he works out or not. Ryan seems like he doesn't have any
Jake's from Australia.
I'm
I'm
an
not
MMA
just gonna
fighter.
follow.
We have to
I'm
be
not
Andrew
just
Tate.
gonna follow either Andrew or
Mm.
Flo, right? I'm not gonna do it just because they're gonna be physically more capable, or I think that they're going to force me to do anything. It's that they're a better person to be by my shoulder
I
when we're
understand where
fighting.
you're going.
See, virtue. I think virtue comes into it. Not just force, but also, yeah. I think that's it. Yeah. There's something to be said for that.
The werewolf, right? When the werewolf comes, I want Flo and Andrew both at both of my sides so that we can fight together.
In this case, he's talking more maybe about loyalty, but that would be a subset of it. There's a weird dynamic actually where back in the day, when the greatest enemy was in fact nature and not a thing to be reasoned with or talked down to, where the leaders that were chosen because they could beat the crap out of whatever it was that was attacking you, and there was kind of a an advantage to that, right? The hunters, the gatherers, the fighters, they were the people who were in control because, in that case, might literally made right as well. I don't know about that. You can see the dynamic that would exist there. But it feels like as humanity has progressed and survival is a thing as opposed to just the idea of not just surviving, but thriving, there's been a move, and I think an appropriate move, towards not only strength but also virtue from one's leaders, right? And not absolute power that goes to one's leaders. I think that's probably a good thing. Anyways, yeah, you can go check this out if you want.